I want to debunk some of the myths that sit around investments as a whole. One of them is that regulation and tightening regulation stifles returns and means you can't make a return from share prices. That's demonstrably not true. For anyone who looked at utilities stocks in the 2000s, utilities are some of those regulated entities in the entire world, and several of those went up hundreds of % in the 2000s. I think the other thing that banks faced in quite a meaningful way in many instances is litigation. A lot of fines for past misconduct or current misconduct in some instances that are being paid. I remember tobacco stocks facing a lot of litigation, paying a lot of fines, a lot of headwinds. That didn't stop tobacco stocks going up by almost 1,000% in many cases over the last 15 years. We have to separate the valuation from the story. The story is interesting and important, but it's not as important as the price we're paying, and today the price we're paying is very low. I certainly don't think cryptocurrencies are a fad. I think there's an enduring technology within that will be around. It'll be a very important part of global financial markets probably over the next 15 or 20 years. Having said that, I'd liken it to the internet. In 2000, people thought the internet would be an important part of our lives. They were right. Did you make money investing in internet stocks? Not so much. It's very difficult to pick, at the time, the difference between a Google and a boo.com. Right now, I wouldn't like to pick a winner or suggest any of the bitcoins or bitcurrencies or cryptocurrencies are particularly attractive. Many of them have bubble-like characteristics, in all honesty. But that doesn't change the fact that tech could be interesting. On your point about online or bricks and mortar versus a more electronic form of financing or of communication with banking, I think when we see these channel shifts, a bit like we saw in retail, what people frequently miss is that the value is in the brand. Banks can communicate and provide their services through all of these different channels, and over time the trust element and the familiarity and the loyalty element comes from that bank, so from that brand. So in the same way that you would purchase goods online from the companies that you know, yes, also Amazon, but those businesses that were on the high street are now on your computer as well, there's a value in the brands of these big banks, and it's not easy to replicate what they do with a bit of software code. We've seen that from banks' attempts to overhaul their IT systems in the last 5 years and upgrade them. There are some quite high barriers to entry to come into that market and competing with these big incumbents.